showcase and the pit photos in one.
What? That's nice. Okay.
Yeah, it was nice and simple.
I did watch both of these. And, well, I wouldn't say showcase.
Yeah. All right. Let's get it going, and then I can do it. Welcome everyone to Eyes On episode 11. Ooh, double digits, but like it twins. I'm here with Nugg today. Today we're going to be breaking down Sony v Xbox, the showcases of the last 2 weeks. It's been the hot topic. Let's see what type of things they do. But before I do anything, I just want to say that welcome. If you're here, we do this live on Twitch every Sunday. If you're not, we put the podcast up the day after next on all major podcasts apps. And then the video version is then uploaded to YouTube 2 days later. So if you're watching on YouTube, hi YouTube. I was going to start off, Nugg. What have you been playing this week before we get into it all?
I just did a Street Fighter tournament yesterday. I'm probably going to take a couple hours today to beat that Final Fantasy demo. Other than that, I haven't played too much. There's so many games out right now. I'm in between Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
I haven't even opened my Zelda in the package.
I haven't touched it yet either. My son is pumping through.
Yeah, dude.
Through that game. I'm relying on him for his review on it at the moment. I'm just let him get through it.
I feel like I'm missing something else, but yeah, I'm bad at that. So Street Fighter is like the main thing right now, and then some Final Fantasy. It's just we've been blessed this year with a ton of games. I think this is great. Yeah, I made a couple of videos about it, and I actually want to go back and add to it once we get maybe to July, August.
I am thinking at the end of the year, what I want to do here is just get a group of people that talk about video games throughout the year, bring them on, and then we can decide, like, kind of debate, argue, as it were, what our game of the year would be. Like, we can just rank our top 3 for different categories, I think. That would be pretty fun.
Yeah, I already have my top 3 ready. I'm just waiting on them to release, man.
I got this today. I have to show you it. Right?
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice.
Yeah. It's a girly product though. It's a oil like burner for like those little gel scents. It's a little lamp that turns on and then does like your wax melts that do all the smells. My mother showed up to me today. She's like, I bought you a present. I pulled this out. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Happy Father's Day, by the way. I think
happy Father's Day. No, it's not for us. It is for you guys.
Oh, okay. So what day is it there?
Ours isn't until September.
Oh man, it's so interesting to me.
Yeah, it's like the only one that doesn't line up. I think Mother's Day is the same, but Father's Day is different.
Alrighty. Well, never mind then. Never mind. Remind me of September.
Happy Father's Day to everyone up north, though. What's your opinion on these 2 showcases? So what's your like general overview of them so far?
Starting with PlayStation.
Yeah, let's go with PlayStation.
PlayStation did a great job, in my opinion. I gave PlayStation about a 7. I think PlayStation got bad rap for a lot of things, and I think a lot of people didn't really judge the PlayStation showcase properly.
No,
of course, everyone was pumped for Spider-Man 2, which was great.
Yeah,
but they gave us some solid third-party games. They gave us some exclusives. They gave us some stuff for the PSVR 2, which I'm biased because I love the PSVR 2.
We got 5 PlayStation VR titles in that showcase, and I mean, it's hard to say. Do you include that when you're comparing it against Xbox though? Because Xbox doesn't have. I do because that's something Sony's given us.
Yeah, exactly. We're on the same page there. So yeah. I don't like how everyone just left this showcase and said, "Oh, all we got was Spider-Man." Well, you got Spider-Man, you got Final Fantasy. What other exclusive?
We got Helldivers.
Helldivers.
The big main ones was a console exclusive, so not PC, because it's something I said there's a lot of cross between. The Metal Gear Solid Master Collection is only going to be on the PlayStation. Foam Stars, Phantom Blade Zero, Sword of the Sea.
Phantom Blade. This was a good one.
And
That
Revenant
game
Hill.
looked so good.
Oh, Phantom Blade did look good.
Dude, yeah, we got some good games. I think
So all up, 9 exclusive consoles for PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4.
And so here's the thing, because I'm glad you have it up. I'm looking at it now. I completely forgotten about Phantom Blade. It was actually in my notes, but
Yeah,
I
so
have your
anything
notes.
bold is anything that's got bold underneath it is an exclusive just for the console. Anything with italics is console and the PC. So it doesn't mean it's going to Xbox, just means it could be PS4 and PC release.
They gave us some solid games, bro. And I think a lot of people just ran with that whole, I didn't care about anything but Spider-Man. And I think that was a bad take. But I also understand that Spider-Man was like the only attention grabber. So I gave them a 7. I think they could have given us maybe one more exclusive, but I'm perfectly excited for Phantom Blade. I'm excited for Spider-Man 2. I have a love-hate relationship with Foam Stars because I love Splatoon so much. It's basically like
it's like a polished. It is a Splatoon with fire.
Splatoon.
It's better graphics.
But it's free, so they're not charging us for the ripoff, which is cool. I'll play it for free.
That Towers of Xaba? It was
Towers of Azkaban.
Yeah, it looks like Breath of the Wild, but like in 4K. Like,
yeah. Now the thing about that one though that kind of threw me for a loop was I don't know what they're gonna do, because I think it's a builder. But if it's like an open world RPG, that's gonna be amazing. It looks beautiful.
No, seriously, there's an open world RPG I'm gonna do a video of this week. Is that Avatar game that's coming out from Ubisoft. Looking at it more and more and more, it is just Far Cry with an Avatar skin over the top. That's it. It is so much. It is. I'm going to play the shit out of it, but it's just Far Cry with Avatar. Like they just grabbed that DNA and repopped it. But
Ubisoft does that with all its games, though, so I'm not surprised. No, I knew it was going to be either Far Cry or it was going to be Assassin's Creed. Yeah, I mean Ubisoft. They don't really deviate from their plans. They don't really change it up as far as how they build games.
Play it
you can kind of tell. You can tell what a Ubisoft game is going to be.
But I mean, overall, I think Sony did a good job. The one thing that stood out to me between the two, a lot of set dates. A lot of we know when these games are coming out and like release windows compared to Microsoft. A lot of it I found was like 2024 or I don't know. So it's good. Like there's only a handful of games from that showcase I know I'm going to be playing soon from Microsoft.
Right before we move on to Microsoft, because I have some stuff to say about them too. The 5 VR titles were really good.
Yes.
And then Beat Saber came to PSVR 2, and I don't have an Oculus.
How are you finding it? Because I know you
play it pretty much every day.
It's a good fitness game, isn't it?
Now that I learned how to play, so at first I was playing regularly, and then I started playing with a buddy, and he was like kicking my behind, and I realized that the more you move, the better your score.
Yes.
So like if you're just like moving your hands a little bit, you'll get a mediocre score. But if you're really getting into it and you're swinging hard, higher score.
Hands small are really good for the fast ones. And that's about it. So you hold your hands very small, just quickly on the angle to hit them. But the more slightly below the hardest difficulty, that's when you can just really just dance, really. If you get into more of a rhythm and get your body swinging, you can notice your hands are moving automatically to the next one. Like,
and so I learned that. So that was a big release for me, because I had made videos saying that I really wanted to get some of those VR2 titles, but I kind of wanted to touch on before we moved on is the fact that nobody counts the VR2 when they talk about PlayStation exclusives or things that Sony has given us, but they gave us an entire VR headset. They gave us Horizon Call of the Mountain, which is a VR exclusive and Sony exclusive, some of which people are calling like the best VR game. It looks beautiful.
I want it just for it. Like it is on my. There's a good chance next month I am going to buy one. I've got a bonus coming. Like there's a good chance that is. It's between a new graphics card for my computer or PS2 VR. Like, that's where I am at the moment. One of them is going to happen.
I I love my VR too, but I don't have an Oculus. I didn't have an Oculus. I think the VR was perfect for somebody like me because I got the PS5 early on in its lifespan, like the first month. And so it's been 3 years. So I don't mind, paying another couple $100 for something new for the PlayStation, a new way to play. But somebody
Yeah.
who might have just gotten their PlayStation when they became readily available in 2021, 2022, you want to spend another 500. So I can understand that. But I don't discount it. I still count this as exclusive content.
Mhm.
Like when people were saying Sony didn't give us any exclusives this year. I'm like, dude, they gave us a VR2. They gave us a new controller. This DualSense here.
Yep.
They gave us Call of the Mountain. They've given us other exclusive PS VR2 games. I don't understand.
Project Q was also in here. I didn't put it in the list, but Project Q was announced this year. That's coming this year.
I have strong feelings about it.
I'm not a fan of it, but I'm saying there's something.
Yeah, but
there.
they're dropping stuff. Yeah, right.
And realistically, if I'm gonna compare the two hardware releases between Q and a Series S 1 terabyte, I don't think the Series S 1 terabyte needed that much of a flashy show to say, look, we painted it black and we've increased the storage.
Oh man, I have strong feelings about that too. So I feel like that was a slap in the face to people like consumers like myself, because
you've got the S, don't you?
I got the S again first month. I got the S when it first released. And so basically for 3 years now, I've had an S, and I went ahead and upgraded to the Seagate 1 terabyte storage drive that you guys advertise as the official Microsoft 1 terabyte storage drive. And now you're telling me that, oh, well, not only did we not give you any games for 3 years to really play, but we also have added new storage to the newer ones for the same price. So
yeah,
I think it was a smack in the face. I understand why they did it. For newer people, they might start go ahead and disbanding the S as we know it.
But when you got the likes of Call of Duty Warzone, which, to be honest, most console players that buy an Xbox or a PlayStation, majority of people go playing Warzone, I dare say, to a degree.
Unfortunately,
unfortunately, I'm not one of them, but there's the majority of your hard drive. It's gone on one game.
Yes.
And then they're not going to uninstall it because they play it too often to experience anything else. So what do you got to do? You got to give them more space.
I'm not mad at it, but you should have made it a 1 terabyte to begin with.
It should have been.
Just couldn't afford.
Well, they could have. Oh no. They're all locked up.
Series S for 250. Huh?
Oh, I just locked up for a second. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
No, all good. As you were saying.
At one point in time, they were selling the Series S on here in the US for $250 USD, and it came with a new controller. So you were getting an extra controller plus the Series S for $250. Like, that's a great deal.
That's a good deal.
But for regular price, it's like, dang, I'm not getting enough storage. This is why a lot of people were like,
yeah.
But let's get on the Xbox showcase. So I gave PlayStation a 7 for their showcase. I thought they could have given us maybe one more exclusive, maybe. I gave Xbox a 8.5. And they're not. Go ahead.
No. I'm just paying attention to it. 8.5. Okay.
I gave them an 8.5 because they're not judged on the same scale for me. I think, and people might call me biased or whatever, but I think that Xbox had much more to prove than Sony did.
They did.
I
agree with that.
Sony gave us a lot of good games in the past couple of years. Sony has every year given us at least one banger game of the year style of title.
They keep us going.
Even if you only get one, you at least get one. Whether it's God of War, Horizon, Last of Us, now Spider-Man, you're getting at least one game of the year style of title with them. And Sony gave us brand new hardware, which we just talked about this year. So we got two brand new pieces of hardware from them as well. So I feel like they've done a solid job. Every year's not going to be a crazy year. Xbox, on the other hand, I mean, they had people saying, hey, if Xbox isn't showing up, I just don't see the point of continuing having an Xbox. So I think because they had more to prove, they actually stood up to those expectations. The only thing that I had an issue with Xbox was the fact that they gave us so many we don't know yet. But I
Yes,
understand
that was my problem.
We're in June though. We're in June, so that's only 6 months. That's only 6 more months left of this year. So
Yes.
I can't be too upset with them because we only got 6 months left in the year. So there wasn't a lot that was going to be coming out.
Another interesting one, looking at the two showcases. So 26 games on the Xbox versus 34, not including the hardware ones as we talked about. 3 of the Xbox games, 5 of them were just expansions.
Now,
and only one of them technically was the PlayStation one, which was Resident Evil 4 VR. Take that as you will. It's a free expansion, but to me, that's kind of nearly a total different experience of a game that you're getting. And it's a bonus. It's a bonus like that. I can't really say that's DLC, even though it is.
One expansion, or maybe it's not an expansion, but the expansion or the improvement that Xbox absolutely killed it with, and I've been saying this, was Microsoft Flight Simulator. Again, it's not a popular game, but that's a new
one. 2024. I count that as new.
Oh, you count that as new?
Yeah, okay, 2024. Okay. That's a new edition. It's a new engine.
Boy, it looks.
We're getting an updated. I can't wait. I know you've done pilot episodes.
And I'll be honest with you, Microsoft Flight Simulator was kind of boring. It's kind of droll. I mean, it's a simulator. I was trying it, but
great to fly over your house.
Yeah, fly over some cities that you're familiar with. But when you go into 2024 version, they added like some little mini games and some little things that you can do. Rescues, fighting forest fires. They added hot air balloons. And I'm not saying it's going to just become like this amazing, super fun game, but it's definitely, they're trying to give us something to bring in more casual players. And I like that.
Yeah, I mean, and oddly enough, I brought up in the PlayStation 1, they had 6 games that were PlayStation and PC. All of the Xbox exclusives were Xbox and PC, except for one game, weirdly enough. And that was Persona 3 Reloaded, is the only game out of all those games that will only be available on Xbox console and not PC.
I saw like 4 different Persona announcements. I feel like there was. I'm not a Persona guy, so it was just so many of them for me, for my liking. No, I would say Go ahead.
I just thought that was interesting. Like technically, there was one dedicated game that's technically a console exclusive. It was one game out of it, even though I know they've got the Game Pass and they put both games up on both. Like, I understand that. But if you were to treat that the same for Sony, they both gave us pretty much equal exclusives, equal amount of exclusives. If you add the 9 console exclusives plus the 6 PC exclusives with the Sony, that gives us 15 versus Xbox's 16. Side by side, they pretty much announced the same.
I will give you an overall view, even though I gave them different scores. I feel like they both did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
I think that Sony gave us Spider-Man and Final Fantasy, 2 exclusive bangers that we guaranteed. Xbox gave us Starfield and Forza, two exclusives for them. So you have 2 games that or 4 games
familiar titles that are coming out soon.
Outside of Starfield.
Yeah.
Outside of Starfield. And so I thought that if you just take away the fluff of it, that's what the showcase was for me. It was Spider-Man and Final Fantasy, and then it was Starfield and Forza. That's what I left thinking, because when you start going into the games that are, coming out soon, or games that we don't know when they're going to release, or third-party games that just got announced at one specific, like people are giving Xbox credit for announcing Star Wars Outlaws.
We already knew that was coming out on the Ubisoft Forward event. Like, everyone knew that was going to be announced then. We already knew we were getting it a day later at Ubisoft.
But that's why I get so frustrated with people who are diehard fans of either one. I think that I prefer to talk to gamers who own both and actually give both the equal chance, because when Sony released games that were on Xbox as well, Microsoft just went ahead and posted this flyer. It's like, oh, guess what? All this stuff is going to come to the Game Pass too.
Did Sony do that to them? No,
they didn't. They didn't.
They were gentlemen. They were like, you know what? We don't have to say that because we got the players.
People could have easily said, "Oh, wow, Star Wars Outlaws. Well, that's also going to be coming to Sony."
Payday 3, that's also coming to Sony.
But they didn't do that, and I noticed like there's people who are fans too hard on either side. They just can't really see that. They kind of just
it's like they put the blinkers on.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's so weird. I just never understood how people could have one console and not say there's at least one thing on. Like, I hate when I see people like in my comments, like, only thing that Sony has that I even care about is Spider-Man. Only thing that Xbox has that I even care about is Starfield. It's like there's no way you only find one game attractive.
I don't know if I told you, I did a TikTok after Summer Game Show for PoE 2 because that's coming out just after Diablo 4 has been announced. PoE 2's Diablo 4 has been released. PoE 2, which is pretty much a similar game, just different type of player base, a little bit more detailed. They've come out and announced, well, look here, our free-to-play game's going to be, the new one's going to be out this year. We'll give you more details next month. So I just put up a video going, Diablo fans, PoE is coming back for its players, basically. It's coming back for the crowd. It wants the crown back. It wants to be the game that everyone's playing. It wants to take that away from Diablo. I started a goddamn war. I didn't know there was a war. For a 3-minute video, TikTok, I got like so many people, and it's like up to 300 comments, and it's people just fighting each other. They're not fighting with me; they're fighting with each other.
I find that when my videos get to that point where they're fighting with each other, it's perfect because means that it's getting good traction.
Yeah,
but after a certain point, I can no longer keep up.
No, I've given up reading it. Every so often I'll check in, but after that I just given up. Fable.
Fable's one of my
What was your feelings from that trailer? I want to know what you felt from it.
I'm a huge Fable fan. Fable is probably the first, I would say, RPG that I ever got into back on Xbox 360. It was my first entry to an RPG.
Okay.
And I think my uncle allowed me to play his copy back in the day.
Yeah, right.
When I was like in middle school. Fable 2 back then. Fable 2 was like the biggest thing on Xbox.
Yeah.
I played that game and I loved it. I mean, it was just it was wonderful. It had a good amount of comedy, great story. You could have a little bit of open world. They had you could do everything. You could do whatever you wanted. You could be as evil or as good as you wanted. If you were a good person, your skin would be better, clearer, shiny. If you were evil, it would get darker. People would turn away from you. If you spent a lot of time in brothel. I mean, I'm so excited for Fable.
Its impact on the world was so fantastic.
It might have been before its time to an extent, honestly.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I don't know why it went away. I think Fable 3 wasn't as well accepted as 2.
No, it wasn't.
I don't know what I thought Fable 3 was good. You could become a king in Fable 3.
Yeah. I mean,
so
my takeaway from that trailer, I kind of wanted more. They've been working on this game for so damn long. I actually wanted to see more than what they gave us. That's okay. How I sat. I'm like, that's cool. I got an in-game engine cutscene type of thing. I kind of probably just some proper gameplay with a little bit of HUD. Even if it was just for a little bit, that would have made me feel better about the game.
Like I said, man, I think that because they're giving us Starfield and Forza, I wasn't surprised that nothing else got a lot of playtime because they have to keep. They're gonna wait until next year around January and February, and they're gonna make sure they have something for us to kind of fawn over and get us back excited. So they're gonna give us like the Fable's coming now, right after Starfield and the Game of the Year awards, and everyone's like, all right, what's next? Mm-hmm. They're gonna probably bring it back out. Okay, an extended look at Fable, and that's gonna like steal everyone's joy and excitement. Yeah, dude, because I honestly, if they had given us an extended look at Fable, an extended look at Starfield, an extended look at South of Midnight, by the time December came, we're gonna be like, all right, what else you got? We already saw that before. Gamers are notorious for, we saw that last time. We saw that, but like gamers have such quick attention spans.
They're like goldfish.
Like next time Like with Starfield, nobody wants to see anything else with Starfield. They saw an hour-long trailer. Now you can't show them any more trailers. Just release the game.
Yeah, we've seen it all. We want it.
Right. That's it. And I think that's why they're like, well, let's not give them too much. I would say the only thing I didn't like with Xbox was that that Hellblade 2, that trailer was ass. I don't know what.
Hellblade 2.
Yeah, it was like whispering the whole time. Apparently that's actually gameplay.
Oh yeah, Hellblade. It's a tune-up. Have you played the first one? I guess that's my question. Oh yes, you need to. It is a masterpiece.
Okay.
It is a masterpiece of a game. It is beautiful. It runs well. The combat in it, I think towards the end, the last fight scene was just probably the best fight scene I've ever had in a game. I felt so great at it. But especially wearing headphones, something like getting deep into the game, it's a psychological level where it tries to put you into that feeling of someone who has an internal voice, having that psychological disorder where you're not all there. You have this persona that you're hearing voices the whole time, and what's real, what's not real. It's a thrilling story. I'll say that. Like I'll say
I've always saw it.
It's one of those ones that you like. They even give you a warning about it, saying, "Hey, this might give you a little bit of psychosis to a degree if you maybe not do this or do that." But I felt like wearing the headphones and just really having that outside world noise blocked out and just hearing what she's hearing, I really felt a deeper connection with the character throughout the thing, and it was, I love that game actually. I left it for a long time before I played it, but it was one of those games that after I played it, I was like, wow, I should have done this way earlier.
I need to. I saw it, and it's actually in my play later on Xbox. There's just so many games in there. I overlook it so many times.
Yeah. No. So it's one of those ones. Put your headphones on, just bleed through it. You hear her talking to, second guessing yourself. The rest of it. Are you good enough? I'm not good enough. Everyone hates you. That type of thing gets played in your head. Like it is a deep psychological game in a way, but it balances the story so damn well. Forza though, I'm going to talk a little bit about Forza. Forza going back to actual motorsport and not Horizon. It's been a long time since we've gone to motorsport and not Horizon. They really focused on Horizon for the last few years.
I'm not a big Forza guy. I'm not a big, let me rephrase. I'm not a big racing fan. I prefer the arcadey experience. I prefer Need for Speed, Mario Kart.
Horizon's pretty arcade.
Horizon is borderline for me. You know, my favorite racing game of all time would be Mario Kart. Something that is just super silly and over the top fun.
Yeah.
That being said, I have dabbled with some racing games. I've played a good amount of Forza. Yeah.
They're glorified tech demos. If you really want to show off, PlayStation does it. If you want to show off your new console, you launch it with a racing game to show it how far you can make it look good.
Oh my goodness, dude! I'm so glad. That's such a great point. But I've been into Horizon. I've played Horizon, both of them. Yeah, and they're honestly the same thing, just in different cities.
Yes, that's it.
But they look beautiful. To me, they're not always super fun to play long term.
No. The online stuff's pretty good though in Horizon. I will say that because it's got big community events. If you can, yeah.
It won't hold my attention very long. But motorsport looks like it's more on the track, so that reminds me more so of the
Gran Turismo. It is the Xbox equivalent to Gran Turismo, and you've got Gran Turismo doing its movie, its games doing really well. It's showing off what Sony can do with its hardware, really,
The game is beautiful, and they put the entire game into VR.
Yes.
So it's a free update into VR, and it's the full game the same. That's what made me buy Gran Turismo, is I had a PSVR 2, and I wanted to see how beautiful it was, so I went ahead and bought it. And I was like, okay, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Also, Gran Turismo is an Olympic sport now, an Olympic esport.
Yes.
So
is Fortnite.
I'm not saying Really?
Yeah, Fortnite's in there. They're using Fortnite, the community ground, the community custom maps, as a sharpshooting event.
I didn't see that news.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
so I never really counted Fortnite shooters as, the best in the game. So, as I don't go there to Fortnite for think of amazing accuracy. But yeah, Fortnite was the first game released on it. I mean,
Wow.
Gran Turismo has been a serious event for a long time. It's had its GT League running for years, since PlayStation 3, basically, since they first released GT League. And that's what the movie is about. The movie is about the GT League. Like, it's a real thing. You drive. If you're very good at playing Gran Turismo, they will invite you to join the academy to see if you can be a real racer.
That's exciting. So I think the movie, the game, and the fact that this is going to be competed, they're going to use this game to compete at the Olympics with this new trial that they just dropped.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if motorsport will get the same level. I mean, it's going to have the Xbox loyalists who's going to, go crazy. I think they could have maybe stuck with Horizon. I don't see.
I honestly think they should have stuck with Horizon. They haven't competed with Let Gran Turismo take that level, and they take care of the arcadey funness of Horizon, because I would put money on it that Horizon has outsold motorsport for quite a while.
Yeah, I don't see the point. That's what I was getting at. Like, and I don't know. Maybe because we're not heavy racer guys. Maybe we just.
I used to be. I've got a steering wheel back there.
Oh, okay. Well, you're a heavy racer guy.
I used to
switched. I will say this. What are your thoughts about the Game Pass model? Is it sustainable?
No, I've never thought it is. I think PlayStation has a smarter model. When they brought out their deluxe thing, they said it very clearly. We are not putting our day one first party games up on day one, because we will lose sales, and then we cannot make those games to the fidelity and quality that they need to be with the money that this platform would bring in. And I say Xbox at the moment have been riding on a lot of exclusives which are paid. Let's bladen it out there. Fable, you take out Fable and Forza, none of the rest of it is exclusives if they didn't buy the studio. These games were already in development. They already had the budget. They were getting made. Xbox has brought it. They're going to release it on Game Pass, and I don't think down the track that they'll have the money to redo it. It'll get smaller. Unless they adopt PlayStation's motto.
I couldn't agree more. I'm so glad we have the
day
same
one.
view.
I've been saying this for years.
You're spot on. You're spot on. And that's the same thing I tell friends all the time. Of course, I'm bigger into this stuff than some other people.
Yeah.
But I tell like my friends in real life, like, hey man, like, this is cool for now, but
it's gonna bite us in the ass.
Bro, you're gonna have to do two things. You're either going to have to increase the price of Game Pass monthly to like $30 a month,
or cut the budget.
Something's got to give. Yeah. You can't there's no way you can keep giving us day one first party titles. It reminds me of like I would say like an Amazon Prime, like a Netflix. All subscription services, they have to change. Like, you're not going to keep the same thing that you first had. Like, it might be day one exclusives now, but like in a year, it might say, hey, we're going to do, next month, next 2 months, like there's no way you're going to keep doing day one exclusives and make money.
How many streaming platforms on your side have started introducing an ad model? I've noticed that over here, like Amazon Prime now has an ad model where it can have ads. I believe Netflix is getting an ad model. We don't have as many as you, ours are a little bit different, but majority of them I notice are bringing in a ad model where you're going to get delivered ads before this, or you can pay extra to remove the ads.
Pretty much all of them except for Netflix. Netflix doesn't have ads.
Netflix doesn't, sorry. Yet.
Hulu's notorious for their ads.
Paramount does.
HBO. Yeah, Paramount, HBO, all of them do ads. But yeah, the big guy is Hulu that does like the big ads.
Yeah. But that's you know what I mean? We never had them when they launched. Now we need them.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are going to be very disappointed with Game Pass in the future. Yes. Because the cost of doing business in my mind is just not adding up. And they keep saying that they're making money hand over fist with Game Pass subscriptions. I don't think it's enough.
I don't think it's enough. Yeah.
Not for these games. Some of these games take 4 years and $60 million to create, man.
Call of Duty, for example, that's a $500 million game. $500 million.
Yeah, and they're trying to buy that. So
they're trying to buy that.
What is it? And it takes $500 million because they know they're gonna make $1 billion on the game every year. I mean, Call of Duty, it's top selling game for 6 months out of the year, every single year. It doesn't matter. It's a war zone.
Yeah,
it's a war zone.
GTA 6 is rumored to be $2 billion total. That's including advertisement.
I expect that out of them.
But that is still selling. They're still selling over $15 billion worth of games a year. It's the only game that still sells considerably in the top sales every year. And how long has GTA 5 been out?
10 years.
Yeah. There's not a game that's ever done that. There's not a game that's been able to continue selling itself like that. But it sells more than other games that get released in that year. Can't even make as much as what GTA did. And it was 10 years ago.
It's funny. You would think everyone has GTA 5 by now, but I guess not. I guess people still need it.
People get banned and they just buy it again, I guess.
I just bought it again for like the 5th time last week before last.
It's like me and Skyrim. Except I've never played, except I hate Skyrim.
You hate it, but you buy it?
I brought it. I own PlayStation VR Skyrim, PC VR Skyrim, and then like 3 copies on PC, and then I think 1 normal copy on the PlayStation and a copy on the Xbox. Because I wanted to like this game, but I wasn't sure. I could never get into it. So then I'd go, maybe I need to play it in the console. That'll make me like it. Okay, that's not really getting it for me. Maybe if I play it in VR, I'll like this game. So I'll buy the VR version. No, I don't like the VR version. Okay, I'll play it on PC, but I'll get all the expansions. Like that's what led me to it. Me trying to like this game and me buying it multiple times.
I think that's a segue into something else. What is your take on Starfield then?
I am hoping more for it, but I'm very cautiously optimistic about it. I expect performance problems with it. I really hope that we do not have a No Man's Sky 2.0 on our hands.
But it won't be that.
Yeah, I'm cautious about it. I'm very cautious.
I think they tricked me. They did trick me, and I'm meaning to talk about this more.
Fallout 76. That's all I got to say.
I knew it. I made a video saying that Bethesda does great work, and people just spam the hell out of Fallout 76.
It's not even Fallout 76. They did the same with Fallout 4 when it was released.
Fallout, you're right. But Fallout 4 is considered like one of the best Fallouts.
It is. I guess when it was a hot mess, and I have much hate for that game for one reason. I couldn't go anywhere. I had surgery or something. I couldn't go anywhere. So I purposely went out and brought Fallout 4, thinking on disc. Going home, like this is going to be the game that's going to get me through everywhere. And I got home to install it because I had bad internet where I lived at the time. And to find out that there was only a 4 gig file on the drive, and then I had to download 90 gig at under a megasecond, like not even a megasecond, it was 100 kilobytes down. So it was like 5 days later that I got to play that game. I was so pissed off at Bethesda for that. Like, how could you release a game like this?
That's terrible. I was going to say that they tricked me because Starfield, when they first were showing all these trailers for that hour-long seminar,
it was that.
it was good, but it was a lot of information. I felt like I was in school because I was taking notes of everything that they were dropping on us. But they when they first showed it, everyone immediately thought No Man's Sky because of the way that you mine things. And then they showed us another fight scene and everyone yelled out Destiny. And I was looking at it and everyone was saying No Man's Sky meets Destiny meets, this game. And I'm just like, this game is Skyrim in space.
It is.
That's all it is.
No,
it is.
The only reason I say
Skyrim in space.
It is Skyrim in space. The only reason I say No Man's Sky 2.0 is a giant size game, a very large game set in space where you got 1,000 planets. How many planets was in No Man's Sky? Trillions. So, an ever expanding amount of, too many planets. We got into the game. And then after about 10 planets, you realize it was pretty much the same for a while there in No Man's Sky. And I don't want to see them make that same mistake as No Man's Sky, because we got beautiful gameplay of look at this beautiful land and these big creatures and all this. And then you go into the game and this procedural generation of these planets just wasn't right. And you could see the repeating. And that's what I'm afraid of is
you're gonna have to repeat at some point. I mean, you're right. And I was thinking maybe because No Man's Sky was online and this is not going to be an online multiplayer game, that maybe it'll be a little different. But you're right in the fact of how many planets can you do before you repeat?
Yeah.
How
big are these planets too? That's the other one I want to know. Are we talking where I land and I can't walk around? Like, I want to know how. See, the part that makes No Man's Sky work with the quintillion planets is that the online side, it can download the planet, it moves from galaxy to galaxy, and you can offload data, basically. You keep the data around for the few galaxies that you're in. And then as you move further through, it removes those further away galaxies and it keeps the file size nice and small and everything keeps moving fine. This game coming out, you've got 1,000 planets. If they're all very big planets, which I doubt, it won't fit on the hard drive unless it is repeating. So if it's as lively as these worlds are meant to be in planets, I don't see it. I'm very cautious about it, knowing what hardware can do and how well it can do it, and being a game that's capable of playing offline. That makes me think that some of these planets are going to be so small it's not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that you're wrong. You're probably spot on.
And then
I think you, like me, and a lot of people are like, we want it to not be that, though.
I don't want it to be that. I want to make that very clear. I do not want this.
We're not.
But I've been playing video games enough to know when some things are just too good to be true.
Too overambitious.
Yeah.
I think we might be talking about Starfield. I think they built this game to last for years, like No Man's Sky. So people will still be playing Starfield in like the next 5 years. And then, the first year or the first 6 months is buggy. The next 6 months it's better. By year two, all of us are coming back on these same type of shows. Like, Starfield is amazing now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, but that's what happened with No Man's Sky. You jump into No Man's Sky nowadays, and it is amazing. By the way, have you played it in VR?
I'm scared. Of motion sickness.
Oh no,
I have it.
It's good. It's good.
I was like, so I bought. Fun fact. Not to get too off tangent.
No.
Around the time,
it's all right.
Around the time I got my PSVR 2, GameStop had pissed me off. You guys have GameStop over there, right?
Yeah, ours is EB Games. Yep, it's the same shop.
EB Games.
It's EB Games. It used to be yours. Used to be EB Games, and then rebranded to GameStop, pretty much.
Okay,
it's the same type of store. It's the same type of store. Everything on
same. Yeah. No, they're the same company. So you have the same thing.
Yep.
So they really pissed me off. They had this power up reward system where you get points for
I don't have my wallet, but I'm pretty sure I have one of the cards in my wallet.
Okay, I had built up about 100,000 points.
Yeah,
90,000 points, and they took them all away.
Oh, no.
The reason being is because they did this shicey little thing to where they said if you don't buy something within 3 months, your points become inactive.
Oh,
You have to buy something under their new plan. If you don't buy something every 3 months, they take your points away. Why? I don't freaking know. I built those points up over the last 3 years.
yeah.
My goal was so I was like, okay, I called and I called and I called, and they wouldn't give them back. They kept saying there's nothing they can do. And then finally I got on the phone with this one lady. She was American, and she was like, this is my last freaking week here. I'm sorry that they're giving you the runner, but they're basically outsourcing all of our jobs over there across to the eastern half of the world.
Yeah.
So basically she didn't care. So she's like, look, I talked to my man. Because honestly, they have the power to do it, man. Everyone else said there was no way they can give the points back. They couldn't even see him in the system. This lady was like, well, let me get on the phone with my manager for a second. She put me on hold for like a minute and a half. Like there was no way she called somebody that fast. She's like, okay, I'm gonna give you 90,000 points, knock yourself out. Sorry about that. So I was like, you know what? Screw you guys. Thanks, but no thanks. I took all the points and I bought $100 worth of PSN cards, and I went out and bought every PSVR2 game that I could find. So there are some, because it was the principle for me. It wasn't about it was just the principle of, you want me to keep coming back in here every 3 months. I don't even know if I'll buy something every 3 months.
Yeah, no. I mean, I very much went digital very long time ago. Majority of my things are digital besides the hardware. I've converted. That's why my Steam library is close to 1,000 games now. Everything's digital for me because I just kind of got sick of carrying stuff.
If I really like a game, like if I think in here there's a couple of games that I really, really like, and if I really like it, I'll buy a hard copy. Like I'll probably buy a hard copy of Spider-Man 2, just because I love the Spider-Man series that much, and certain games that I really, really like, I want to have a copy. I still have a copy of Red Dead 2 in my in here. It's like certain games.
I was that committed to going digital. I brought the digital PlayStation.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's risky.
I brought it. I was that committed to doing it because, especially at the time when I'm moving out of this house, but my old house, and I'm going back to the same connection. I'll be back to having 1,000 down, not 100 down. I'll be down to 1,000 down. When you got 1,000 down, you don't care about what the hell you've got installed, because you just uninstall it and then you go make yourself a copy while you re-download it, and that game's done by the time you've made a copy. Like that's how I felt.
That's amazing, because I have 1,000 down, but I can't get 1,000 down.
Oh no, like my other house, like it hit 995. It was
on the PlayStation.
Yeah, everything was just hammering at my last house. Like my last house was just perfect for the internet. And now I'm moving.
Was that Wi-Fi or Ethernet?
Wi-Fi, but I used a mesh network, so I had little nodes set up across the house. And then the PlayStation, so the garage was where, right up the other end of the house was where the garage, that's where the internet came in. It hit a node. And then I had a node all the way at the opposite end of the house in the lounge room, which the PlayStation was connected to via Ethernet. And then in between the two, my computer was, and it was connected to Ethernet to a node. And because it was connected via Ethernet, it connected at that full speed. It treated it like it was a wire straight to the garage.
Oh man, dude, that's amazing.
It was good. Like it was, as I said, I lived in a golden age of downloading for that period while I was in that house, and that's why I'm really excited to move in 2 weeks and get the internet back to.
Dude, because I have something kind of similar, and I pay for 1,000 down, but I'm only my PlayStation gets probably about 300, which is not it's not terrible, you know.
The Switch is horrible. The Switch was horrible.
Oh man, sure.
The Switch. I was like Switch. I was kind of like a Wi-Fi at a Starbucks trying to download the game.
It's because horrible. I always give Nintendo a pass, because to me, they are the most unique out of the three studios. They are the most innovative. They're the most innovative. They just don't care about giving you hardcore graphics and hardcore 4K games. They give you fun games.
Yeah, they do.
They give you
what
games.
you want. They know what you want. Even if you say you don't want it, they know what you want, and they're going to deliver that.
Because I hate when people try to bash the Switch or Nintendo, or they're not next gen. It's like, The
Oh,
Nintendo
don't get me
Switch.
started with next gen. I'm over that word. It's not next gen.
Next gen.
There is no
next
next
gen.
gen. We're there. We're there. It's current gen and old gen. That's it.
There's no next gen is a buzzword to basically tell you that they were going to move to new graphics, which, by the way, they have still yet to give us any game in 4K 60. Not a single game on any platform is 4K 60 outside of PC. No console. No Xbox or PlayStation is 4K. We haven't even touched 4K gaming.
I suspect we'll see someone with Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man's
on what, the PS5?
Yeah. Because
I don't think so.
Well, you could play 4K 60, but without ray tracing.
That was on the PlayStation?
That was on the PlayStation. So Miles, you can turn off. You can go to performance mode, and that's 4K 60, but it doesn't have the ray tracing like the shadows through like the reflections in mirror and stuff. So it turned off some of the things that you probably wouldn't notice when you're swinging through a city at 60 frames per second, like things you weren't gonna notice unless you slowed down. But it could do 4K 60. But I think the Spider-Man 2 is going to be our true next gen title. This is something that we are finally going to see what the PlayStation hardware can actually do. They've used it before. Ratchet Clank came out and it was great, but it was early. It was early.
That is the first and only next gen title that I would tip my hat to.
Yeah.
They came, and nobody talks about Ratchet. Ratchet and Clank gave us everything that games were supposed to be.
Yeah.
You zooming through worlds at a light speed, the graphics, the sound, I mean, everything, the Pulse 3D headset with, I might go back and play Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah,
that game.
It's now out on the game. It's now out on Deluxe. If anyone has a PlayStation has not played it yet, it is now part of their Game Pass.
And it's great, dude. And nobody talks about how great that game was. And as much as I love God of War, I gotta be honest, all God of War did was hide the loading scenes within you talking to Atreus.
Yeah, and God of War was still held back by PlayStation 4 because they released it on PlayStation 4,
which they should have never did.
They should never.
What games do nowadays is they'll have a loading screen hidden within like maybe some dialogue, a crawl,
squeeze between a wall. Yeah. Yep.
Or like the little light thing where you're traveling between realms. You don't load, but you're talking and you can see the game is kind of loading.
Yes.
As far as I can remember, Ratchet and Clank didn't do that.
No, it didn't. But
Ratchet
and Clank, as I said, was early hardware, so they were still trying to get their grips around completely what the console could do. PS5 has been out for a while. They've played around, Insomniac has got to play around with it. They've done Miles. They got to see a little bit of tests. Now they get to remove the restraints of what they had making Miles because they were focusing on the PS4. And it's now hell for leather. And I reckon it will be the most eye candy-ish game that we've seen in a very long time.
So I'll say Insomniac is probably my favorite publisher or dev. I can't remember which one, but Insomniac, their games to me, I don't know a single Insomniac game that I haven't enjoyed. And I'm being so honest.
I'll agree.
All of them.
That's going really back. That's going really.
Yeah, we can actually look at some of them. I mean,
I'm just gonna quickly double check their Wikipedia and do a quick scroll through of games and just see. So yeah, you got Spyro. Yeah, I like those Spyro, Ratchet and Clank.
Spyro. Yep.
What?
The one on Xbox right now.
Resistance was great.
Good.
That was a strong series for the PlayStation 3. The
Sunset Overdrive.
Series. Sunset Overdrive was good, yeah.
All of their big titles. They have some smaller ones on here that I haven't played, but all of their bigger titles have been wonderful. And I think Wolverine will be good too, which is why they didn't show us anything on the PlayStation.
They don't need to. They don't need to. We already know what that's going to get. We already know.
We know. I was telling somebody that I don't know why people are insistent on asking about Wolverine. It's Insomniac. Like, they haven't missed with the big title yet. all of them have been really good.
No, I was just double checking. Yeah, there's not a title there that I could honestly say I don't like. They've been solid, and it's understandable why Sony would buy them.
Yeah,
and it's the same. It's the same with Naughty Dog too. Naughty Dog knows what it's doing.
Same.
Naughty Dog. Sony is interesting on how it buys studios and brings it into its mix. Like, it's picked up ones that done great first party games from and said, look, let's just bring you into the fold. We'll give you more budget, basically. But the likes of Bungie's been brought in, but they're not making Bungie an exclusive. Bungie is more of a partnership to Sony for their live service games, because they want to build all these live service games, and we got to see that with the likes of, I could pull them out right now. We're going to have Concord, that'll be the live service. That Marathon, that's a live service. All these games, even though Marathon is Bungie, Concord would go to Bungie, and Bungie would have a look at it, and then they go, hey, Sony, yeah, that's going to work, or hey, no, that's not going to work. Because end of the day, Bungie knows live service games and how to make them. That's what Sony brought. They weren't buying them to make them exclusive. They were buying them for their knowledge to make games the way they want.
What is your take on live service? Do you like them, or are you indifferent?
Indifferent. I don't know. Okay. I'm neither here or there, really. I'm neither here or there. There's games out there that are live service that people don't necessarily think of a live service. Like Team 17 had their Life by Me or something. Their equivalent to the Sims game that was showing off. That's a live service game. Sims is a live service game. Really, that's what it is. It's ongoing. You keep paying for DLC and packs. That's a live service game. It's the Sims. A lot of people ain't gonna necessarily think of it as, but that's what it is. They just got to keep releasing packs.
I was gonna say, I'm not a big fan of live service, just because a lot of times for me, I'll get a little tired of it eventually.
Yeah,
I may come back. That's neither here nor there, but I find that usually a game that has a set beginning and end, a linear single player story, tends to be the game that I stick with, and the games that are usually the ones getting the awards. The game of the years are usually, I mean, you have your Elden Rings, of course, but usually there's like a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end, there's a storyline.
Yeah.
And I think nowadays people push for live service, but I think that to an extent, when you do live service, it ruins the quality. I mean, you can look at some of the other game of the years. You have, like, I think God of War got it one time. Spider-Man got it. Sekiro, Heroes Never Die.
I can see four games off the top of my head off the Sony showcase that'll be live service. They're doing 24 live service games by 2026, so we're going to see a shitload of them.
I think that's the wrong way to go.
They're just, but they're trying it. I think the thing that a lot of times when people see live service, they think of the likes of Call of Duty, I guess, where it's this multiplayer shooting that. They're trying live service in a variety of different ways with a variety of different budgets. So we're going to get some real cheap, it could be something like a bloody Candy Crush, really, as their attempt of a live service. They're going to try a magnitude of different types of games to see what will work there. Yeah, it's weird, but we're not getting away from it. But as I said, Concord, that's a live service game. Foam Stars, live service. Fair Games, live service. Marathon, live service.
You have to have some. What I don't want is for games to be like Warzone, essentially.
No, I don't want Warzone. I don't think you're going to get that with Marathon. Marathon's going to be very much more of the Escape from Tarkov style game. Foam Stars is going to be sitting, as you said, like your Splatoon. Fair Games is a heist game. AI players PPE, so players versus the computer and doing heists. So that's more of your Payday style game, I guess. And Payday worked well. Like, I really liked Payday. And then Concord, there wasn't much about Concord, but being Firewalk Studios, I'm putting 2 and 2 together and saying that's a live service game. I will say what I think hurts Sony, and I'm surprised the same didn't get done for Xbox, was the wish list, is what I called it. There was that fake list that went out of people saying these are the games are going to be. There was like a couple of days, but I call it the wish list because it was a list of games saying this is what's going to get shown off at the PlayStation Showcase. And really, hardly any of them got shown off. It was only a handful of games.
I swear I can't remember that.
I'll get the list off my head. I saved it on my phone because I was going to do a rant on TikTok.
Did Sony do that or did
no? It was a leak, just a leak from a guy.
You gotta be careful with those. Yeah,
so many people fell for it. That was the problem. So many people fell for this leak, going, "Oh yeah, that's what it's going to be." And it's like, no, that's
sometimes leaks are just people giving their hot takes.
Yeah, I don't have it saved, but I do remember a couple of titles that leaked. That actually, I might just quickly Google it. While I'm bringing up this leak, though, what about the rumors of PlayStation doing a secondary showcase very soon, and that they purposely left off a lot just to let Xbox throw everything they had out?
I haven't heard that rumor, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Rumor is we'll have another PlayStation showcase by August, and it wouldn't surprise me because there are games that I know should have been released or should have been talked about because it makes sense, and we haven't seen it.
Like what?
Twisted Metal.
We saw a trailer about that.
That's the TV show, not the game. We haven't had a new Twisted Metal game in a very long time. No doubt Sony is working on a Twisted Metal game, so they're going to bring that up at some point. All right, here's this list that I got. The Last of Us Fraction, which was a possibility.
Oh my goodness.
That's a live service game. So I'll put that down as a possibility. You've got the Twisted Metal game. That's again that probably should have done. Pragmata, which was a Capcom game. Neither here or there on that. We got Resident Evil 4 VR, which this is how I knew the list was fake. Resident Evil 4 VR. Well, that is actually the MetaQuest 2 game.
I thought we got that one.
No, that's just where I'm meaning. Like, we got it, but it's actually Resident Evil 4 Remake DLC.
Oh.
Where Resident Evil, if you looked up Resident Evil 4 VR, you would most likely get linked to the Quest 2 version. Quest 2 has had Resident Evil 4 VR for ages, and it's actually called Resident Evil 4 VR. That's the official title. So it's a different game. Snake Eater Subsequent was the next title, which we did get our Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. But that name is the combination of both Metal Gear Solid 3s, the first one and the second one. So it was a weird name. Why would you have Snake Eater and Subsequent, the two subtitles of the game? Silent Hill 2. We know that's coming. We know that's going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. Mortal Kombat, but we got Mortal Kombat a bit earlier. We ended up getting Final Fantasy VII Rebirth later on, so that was fine. Disney Domination, which I believe is a Smash Brothers style game, but Disney from Square Enix. Yes. The one that I kind of was a little bit banking on was Half-Life Alyx for PlayStation 2 VR.
Okay. A lot of people brought that one up.
No, that's believable. Death Stranding 2. But it was called DS2.
Okay.
Stellar Blade, another one. Hades 2. Darkest Dungeon 2, which had already got released a couple of weeks ago, so I didn't see the point of having that on a PlayStation 5 showcase. Goodbye Volcano High, which is a PlayStation 5 launch exclusive. The Dishwasher Collection, Ghost of a Tale 2, Lost Soul aside, this one was where I knew it was fake. Killzone.
Oh my goodness. Fake.
So
that's what you knew.
So no, let's be honest. There's a little bit of thing. That's a wish list of a game of coming back. Guerrilla Games does Killzone. Sony had just brought Firewalk Studios probably 2 weeks before this list got a release. There's no way Firewalk Studios had been working on Killzone that whole time.
Right.
So, like, no doubt we'll probably see Killzone. Killzone will probably come back in forms of a live service game. And there's a good chance that Firewalk will be the ones that do it, but not at the moment. Helldivers 2, which we got. Marvel's Spider-Man 2, which we got. And Darkseid, which was a game that got a game by Santa Monica Studios, the studio behind Gears God of War. They canceled that game like 10 years. They canceled that game so long ago.
Yeah.
Why? Then they made it very clear that they weren't going to make it. So why all of a sudden would it make it to this list? And it's the same with the Xbox. Xbox had a similar list get released. And it had some of it. List 8 and more leaks. I think this is the list. Maybe not. I did see the list, and it was very similar, but a very a new Halo game in there, a God of War collection, which I think personally they need to do, and Dragon Scale. Was it Dragon Scale? The Dragonbound, that game that Xbox was going to do that canceled. They had that down there as a game that was going to get released at this year's showcase. And it was like, that's definitely not going to happen. Yeah, they can keep wishing. So yeah, State of Decay 3 was another one, which, you know, they could have shown us the State of Decay 3. They could have shown us another Killer Instinct. They could have shown us a new Quake, because we haven't got a new Quake. That was another one was in there. A few new Halos, Fallout New Vegas 2, because we know that's getting done. But there was things in there Xbox could have showed us that we didn't, and I think they're also saving some for a rainy day when they need it. Basically, there's no point to put it out. But I also, I do agree. I kind of accept the PlayStation rumors around them doing another showcase in August. Like, just
so I'm just trying to think of what is realistically something that you think is coming, though, because some of those games we talked about just now aren't really.
We can get more live service talk. So Fractions is one. I know it's been on and off the table. There's little bits that they could release, and it doesn't have to be full-fledged games, but they could talk about a Fractions. They could give us more Marathon. They could give us more of the Concord. They could come back and give us more details. I think, honestly, Sony went back and just waited to test the waters to see what Xbox had to see, and then that was going to make their mind on whether they had to react or not. I don't think they need to react, though. I don't think there was anything that was going to take away. I think Spider-Man's a big enough game to go up against Starfield. It's
going to go up against Starfield, and realistically, the only people who are gonna have an issue with it are Xbox fans. I mean, or Sony fans. Like the gift and the curse about Spider-Man is that we know what it's going to be. It's going to be a sequel. It's going to be like a Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
Or like a Jedi Survivor. You know, it's going to be an expansion on a game or two games that we already love.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much already a 10. It's pretty much already a 10.
Can you understand the frustration for Sony fanboys towards Microsoft and Starfield?
No.
This was a game that was coming to PlayStation. And that was announced when Xbox brought the studio, that they were not going to change any agreements or releases and would stick to everything that the Bethesda was going to do. And within 2 months of buying it, the first thing they did was remove Starfield and Elder Scrolls from PlayStation.
And then people wonder why they don't want the Activision deal to go through.
Exactly. And I mean, I don't. That's totally another thing on itself. I don't think that's going to go through either. I think that's. I really think the FTC is going to.
Even if I'm being honest, like I have both. So if it was only on Xbox, I could still play Call of Duty. I don't care. But Call of Duty itself or Activision is too big to be acquired by either side. Either not.
And I think that's agreed. It should just
certain games should just stand on their own. Call of Duty should be on its own. Your sports games, your EA games, your Madden, your NBAs, your FIFA. Those games.
NBL came to Xbox. It was the only PlayStation game owned by PlayStation Studios. MLB. Yeah, sorry, we're not big on baseball here, but that came. I know that came to. I knew that came to. That came to Xbox because it had to.
You have to have a baseball game on both sides. Certain games. Certain games should be on both sides. Call of Duty should be on both sides. It is the biggest, one of the biggest games in the world. That's like GTA. If GTA was to get bought up by somebody, or Rockstar was to get bought up, Rockstar's too big to be bought up. Yeah, you have to.
That was it. Microsoft buys Call of Duty. PlayStation buys GTA.
But the thing is, now you're just buying two consoles anyway, which is what I've been preaching from my biggest thing from the beginning, or since I've been an adult, has been people should get both and experience both, because there's no point in just picking one and just saying, I'll never touch an Xbox for what? They're not loyal to you. Why are you loyal to them?
I say I dropped Xbox. I had an Xbox One. And it wasn't until Game Pass clued on and became PC Game Pass that I looked at and went, hold on, I don't need you anymore. And I shifted away. Like, realistically, if I was looking at these titles that we talked about tonight, the only game that I'm missing out by not having an Xbox is Persona 3 Reloaded.
Who cares?
And that's it. Realistically, I don't give a fuck. So I'm going to get everything I want on my console.
That's not your fault. That's Microsoft's fault for having a stupid model that they're like, we're trying to go. It's like when they first dropped the damn Xbox One, they wanted to go with this, entertainment system. And it's like, nobody wants that. And then now they have Game Pass on the new console. It's like, well, instead of, making great games on the Xbox, we're going to put everything great on the PC. So now most people who can afford a PC or who already have one have no reason to go out and buy our stupid little Xbox.
And then you just put an Xbox controller onto your PC for anything that kind of feels like it should be played with a controller more. There you go.
And I do that. And it's like, I think it's an excellent idea to have this entire ecosystem.
Yeah.
Realistically, it's dumb as hell. It's from a sales standpoint, it's dumb because
even you look at it like Starfield. Everyone's complaining about the 30 frames per second on Starfield. I understand why they're doing it. I also think it's a choice, but end of the day, it doesn't bother me because I'm loading this bastard up on my PC and I'll get 60 frames a second on that. So
I think that, like we talked about, the first thing we said was PlayStation has the better model. You still get their games on PC. It might be 6 months to a year to 2 years. We are getting
Ratchet and Clank in a few months, and I think that is it's been a healthy amount of time from that release. It was about 3 years before we got Final Fantasy VII remake on PC. Like it's fine.
You guys just got Miles Morales. I think it's smart to make people wait. If you want something for free, okay, we'll give it to you for free, or we'll give it to you on our PC services. But you're gonna have to wait a while. Yeah. That's a healthy way to do it. Which is why I think PlayStation Plus is actually really good. And if you look at PlayStation Plus more recently,
it's
getting a lot of the same games.
It's getting
a lot of the same game. Matter of fact, I might do some content on that too, because there was
30
new games just came out.
And they were hot games too, including Ratchet and Clank. It's
Hold
now
on,
on
is it let me see. Is it 20?
28, I think it was.
Where's that list? How can I find that list? How can
Hold on.
PS Plus?
June 2023.
Is it June?
Yeah, you gotta say June 2023.
Okay, boom. Is this all of them?
Yeah, so we got Far Cry, we got Rogue Legacy 2, Far Cry 6, Far Cry 5, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay. Yep. So that TMNT is coming. It's already been on Game Pass, but now they can compete on both.
Yep.
What else is on here? That's on both.
Inscription.
There's another
that was
one.
a really good game.
Also on both.
Yep.
Lonely
Mountains Downhill.
I thought Far Cry 6 was on both, but it's not.
No, Far Cry 6 isn't out there on Xbox yet.
I actually played the free trial on Xbox. They had a free weekend where you could play it. And I tried it. I was like, this is actually, it's the same thing, but for some reason, I like it at 6. I'll play 6.
Wild at Heart, that's a good game. Vampire Masquerade, like they're getting better. Killing Floor 2, like, and then the other thing that they do really clever, I think, Sony, they don't release the PlayStation 5 game necessarily for all of them. They do it for some, but not all of them. Have you noticed that? There's some games that I know have got a PlayStation 5 version, but you can only get the PlayStation 4 version. And that's okay.
Like what?
Crap. I can't even remember now. Just little ones that had performance updates. They didn't have like a proper PS5 release, but they had a performance update and they just allowed it off. Unless you owned the game and then you got the full one. I can't even know where to get the list to compare that. I just realized that when I first got it. I was like, oh, okay, I can see that. But at the same time, the games ran great and they look good. And realistically, if you have a modern TV, which you do, if you're playing a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox, you should have a modern TV.
Fun fact about me, I have a monitor and it's 1440p still because 4K monitors at the time were too expensive.
They are expensive.
And there's no game right now. Maybe, like you said, maybe Spider-Man 2 will force me, but nothing right now is saying, hey, you need to go out and get a 4K monitor because my 1440p is just now being accepted on PlayStation as of what, 3 months ago?
Yeah.
They're just not doing 1440p.
There was it wasn't until I got the PlayStation 5 that I was actually using my TV for its fullest because my TV broke and I couldn't get the part replaced. It was still under warranty, so they just gave me an equivalent of today's standards for the time, but it wasn't equivalent. It was like a step up and a half. They gave me the HDR, they gave me the variable refresh rate, the local dimming. Like, it was a full upgrade. It wasn't just giving me the equivalent TV anymore. And then it wasn't until I got the PlayStation 5, I'm like, hold on, I could do the 120 hertz 4K mode and variable refresh rate. I'm like, now my TV's getting used the way it needs to be. And I played Secure. I played some, there's a lot. PlayStation 5 is really my offline thing. That is, I've occasionally done streams using it, but most of the time it lives out in the lounge room because that's what I chill to when I'm not streaming. That's where I play my single player games by myself and just take my time. And the problem with PlayStation games, and it's not a problem. It's really it's a good thing for them. They're that great that I don't want to stream them because I want to keep playing them. I don't want to be limited to, okay, cool, here's my stream, I get to play it. I'm not going to stream for another 2 days and then have to sit there knowing that I can't touch this game. I want to be able to touch that game and just play it as much as I want when I want it. Like, I almost 100%ed the Ghost of Tsushima. Like, I almost 100% that game because I got so addicted to it.
I can't. It's like, for some reason, I can't develop. It's a really good game. I just can't go any further in it. I just keep getting sidetracked by everything else that's getting released.
I know. I think I got into it before everything got released. That was my thing. Like, I got into it where I didn't have anything that was really gripping me, and that allowed me to go, I'm going to go do every side quest in this game because I want to. I just want to keep fighting people.
That game, I wonder if they'll get a sequel. I think that'd be pretty.
They are
pretty
definitely.
cool.
That is definitely. I think that was also on the list of leaks. That that game's definitely getting a sequel. There's studios in there. There was a lot of studios at Sony. This is why another part I think Sony's got more that it didn't let us. There's studios that haven't released a game in a very long time that Sony own that have to be working on something. And it has to be close to being ready.
Okay.
Just like Astro.
Takes 4 years.
Yeah. But
Astro, man.
We guarantee it's in the works. I guarantee it's almost ready too.
That'd be a great
everything for that game is foundations is down place already. We've got the VR now. We've got everything for it. They just need to put it all together. The studio has not been working on anything else. Like I guarantee you, we're going to be getting that one soon. But yeah, I think we've got more. I think even though this year has been fantastic, there is there's definitely potential for it to be even bigger than it is already.
Yeah. I saw some people make videos saying that there was too much released this year. I don't think so. It's back to normal. I said 2023 was one of the best years in gaming in the last decade.
Yeah, I'll stand by that.
Since before COVID, maybe. Well, so since 2018, I think is the year everyone talks about. 2013 is the year everyone talks about. It's like either 2018 or 2013 is the one where we had a bunch of games. I think it was 13. But I think 2023, when it's all said and done, we'll be able to go pound for pound with any other year in gaming just because of the amount of stuff we got. I mean, we started this year off with Hogwarts Legacy, and nobody talks about that game
That's
right
already
now.
Done. It's already gone.
But that game broke Twitch records, and nothing else has come close to that since.
Nope.
1 million people were watching that and playing that day one and two.
Yep. And we got what else do we have? Zelda has been released this year. We got Starfield. We got Spider-Man.
Zelda. The Zelda buzz has already died down, in my opinion.
But it won't. It'll keep going too. But I mean, that's Diablo 4. Like we've had some big releases from studios.
Diablo 4. Hold on. I have it actually written down. Because I had a list of things that came out, and it's like some of them people aren't even talking about anymore, and they're really good games. Hi-Fi Rush, the Dead Space remake. We had the Wild Hearts. We had Atomic Heart. Nobody cared, but Call of the Mountain. Sons of the Forest was hot for a little while.
Yep.
For a little while, everyone was on the Destiny 2 Lightfall because they said the expansion was like a brand new game. Wolong Fallen Dynasty, the game was hard as hell, but that had a little buzz.
Yep.
The Resident Evil 4 remake had some buzz.
Yep.
Redfall was supposed to get some buzz, but it flopped.
Redfall is another case in point of why I think the Game Pass will fail. Because, just to side rail this for a second, when Xbox was buying the studio, Arcane knew it was a mess already. They had no direction with the game. They were struggling to get it anywhere. And they were hoping that Microsoft would turn around and say, sorry, just can that game. It's not worth it. Instead, Microsoft put their hands up and said, keep going, and walked away and didn't want to be a part of the game. They needed Microsoft to come in and give them that import, either the direction they needed or to tell them that cancelled. Instead, Microsoft said, keep doing it because they needed an exclusive. I'm just quickly running through future game show list quickly to see if there was anything massive out of that really caught my eye. There were some games out of that actually. Light by You. Nothing Triple H that's really standing out that needs to Company of Heroes, but that's under a lot of problems. There was a lot of games on Future Game Show that I actually liked, to be honest, but
we got so many games.
We got so many games. It's yeah. This year's a good year. I definitely think that the one showcase that we didn't get is EA. Did we?
I don't even think they have anything planned.
But EA normally has a showcase in 2023.
EA and Nintendo.
Yeah, but then EA event is normally the EA event is normally in May before everyone else's, and it wasn't this year.
You think they're gonna do one?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. They I know they've got this is why Skate 4.
They are. I don't think that game is ready yet.
Yeah, it is.
They are. I think they're still doing their testing and everything.
They are, but it's. I can say, yes. That's good enough. That's where I'll leave that one. I'll talk about that one off.
Okay.
At the end of that, you've got 2 new racing games, which one will be a Need for Speed. They've got to talk about their new life after FIFA, because they've got their new soccer game.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
They've got their college football game in the works as well. Dragon Age. They've got titles they're working on. There's stuff that they can talk about that they haven't yet.
College football, FIFA are my 2 most and Skate. Those are my Skate. We'll talk about that one later. But yeah. So those are some good things coming.
Well, I think we might wind us up just because I'm trying to keep them short nowadays. Anything else you want to bring up before we wind us up?
We killed it, man. This was an excellent show. Thank you for having me.
No. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I will be back later on probably and grinding more Diablo because my soul has been taken by the Underworld and I need to keep progressing in that game. Anyway, I will